Welcome. I'm Paige Stover, here again with Dr. Kathryn Seifert. Dr. Seifert is the author of the book Youth Violence, which has become a very commonly used textbook and training tool among the profession. Dr. Seifert, you speak in your book at length about gang behavior and the prevalence of gang behavior, particularly in the United States. What causes young, urban, it's primarily males, although I understand there are some girls, there are girl gangs, and there are girls who join predominantly male gangs. What is sort of the glue, if you will, that keeps these groups of people together?
Initially, gangs were created in the cities as immigrants came in and wanted to protect an individual territory that belonged to a group of people with a similar culture. And as their territories became more entrenched, there became fighting among different groups with different territories. Now, assimilating into a new culture is very difficult, very stressful. And part of what has happened is that finding jobs, keeping your family fed, doing those kinds of activities meant that there was a lot of poverty for those new immigrants coming in. They had to find ways to sustain their families, to feed their families. And as happens with many immigrant groups, there was some illegal activity going on in order to sustain their families. Then there became more fighting among gangs. And so initially, gangs were a way to preserve your family, your culture in a particular area, and the gangs would stake out their territory. As time has gone on and the gangs have survived, in every city there are children who are abused and neglected, left to their own devices, becoming street children, just as in terrorism. And all children are looking for a place to belong. And gang leaders know this, and they are very good at recruiting children that are left to their own devices and pulling them into the gang to give them a place to belong. And so the gang gets stronger and stronger as they recruit more and more of these younger people. The other thing is, younger people, when they go to juvie, they don't get the kind of sentences that the older guys will get. And so they will have the younger children commit crimes because they won't get as long of a sentence, and they'll come out and the gang will take them back in, and that becomes their family. And so rather than raising these children in a pro-social atmosphere in order to take care of being part of the rest of society, they bring them in and teach them how to be antisocial, because that's become a way of life for them, and that's become survival. And it just goes on generation after generation.
So in your theory of the developmental phases when people can seek attachment, do I interpret this as a phenomena of sort of the peer group attachment, or what you describe as the second phase?
Right. This is the second phase. And the reality is we can attach in adolescence to a pro-social group, a group that is following the rules of society and trying to get ahead in the world, or you can attach to an antisocial group. And so you're attached to the group, but what you're taught is to kill, steal, and you will do whatever the group teaches you to do.
Now, some of these gangs, if I understand correctly, have become national. There will be, I don't know what you would call them, affiliates in LA, New York, Chicago, and now even internationally. What is this about, this sort of expansion as almost an organization?
It's about money. It's about the drug trade. It's about whatever illegal activities they're involved in. It's just like any other business. The larger your business, the more money you're going to make. The larger your organization, the more power you have if you're the person at the top. So it's about money and it's about power. Exactly the same as it is in corporate America. The difference is they're doing illegal activities. Corporate America is mostly doing pro-social activities, although, never mind. So you have the same kind of structure. It's just what they've chosen to do to get ahead in the world. And the bigger the organization, the more power and the more money.
What can parents do to keep their kids out of the gangs? Anything?
Parents, and what you've asked is the key. Parents have to have very good relationships with their children. They have to be the initial attachment that if they believe in a pro-social lifestyle, that they have to draw their children in, supervise their children, make sure they get to school. They have to be the larger influence than the gang. And that takes a lot of work and a lot of supervision. And the reality is when you're working 2 jobs, you can't always do that. But we have to, as a society, find ways where working people can find positive activities for their children to be involved in and positive people to be role models. It's what the gangs already know. They already know they need to be warm and welcoming to these children and give them things to do. That's exactly what they do. When we as a society learn how to do that, we will be as good at recruiting these kids as the gangs are.
You're using the term pro-social in your description. Can you define pro-social?
Pro-social means that we're part of the larger society, and we know that if we follow the rules that society makes, that all of society will run better and we will get rewards for being part of this larger system. It's really not very different than what the gangs do, except for the type of activities that we're involved in. They know, the young people know, if they get involved in the gang and they follow the rules of the gang and they do what the gang tells them to do, they have rewards that they will get. The difference is dying, being shot, having your family members hurt are the things that are the risk you take that you don't take when you're in a lifestyle that supports the larger civilization. And so, but once you get caught up in that, you accept the risk, and it's very hard to jump from over here to living with the rest of society.
Now, how about gangs in the schools? The school systems are underfunded, understaffed. What does a school principal or a teacher do when they're dealing with gang behavior and trying to teach math?
And that's really a problem because, as I said, the gangs know how to draw these kids in and be their friend. And so our teachers, our counselors in the school need to get better at being not a friend to children, but warm, nurturing, setting good boundaries, doing exactly what good parents do in order to teach math. And they can engage these children. I've seen videos of teachers who teach math rules by having a rap song, and they rap the math terms to this rap song, and they engage the whole classroom, and they learn what they need to learn, they have fun, they're engaged with the teacher, they connect with the teacher, and that makes a difference. And so we have to learn to be more engaging in our schools with our children and not so punitive.